We are here with the CCO Winner Showcase Playoffs, a semifinals match here between Apollo and Danny Defeato. Apollo just coming off of their 3-0 victory over Pack Academy. Danny Defeato coming in after a 3-0 victory over Darkness yesterday. The winner of this match will move on to our finals tomorrow. Helping me out in the booth tonight, I do have Ocean with me once again.
Right here, I'm excited. Semifinals, we got the other semifinal currently going on as well. We got C4 taking on Tryhards in that game, Apollo versus Defeato in this game. Two titans of the Tier 3 console watch scene here. We got some massive moments, and not just the PC scene Overwatch, but also in the console watch scene. We saw Danny Defeato claim their 3-2 victory over Darkness in quarterfinals of CGL MDT last season, so it's a good map for Defeato as well. So let's see how they do against Apollo this time around.
Well, and it does offer a lot of versatility as far as you can play a lot of different compositions on the 3 different rounds. Apollo starting us off here with a little Ryan Zarya Reaper May. As we come out of the gate, the semifinals have begun. On the other side of the fence, Danny Defeato showing us a little Ryan Zarya. They're going to opt for the Reaper Pharah combination. You can see the pharmacy in the sky already trying to rain down hell from above. Putting those rockets on a point, and Catfish King comes up with first blood, but he gets whittled down low and drops himself. Reinhardt traded for the May. But they managed to get the pick onto Truth as well. A big chunk of damage taken out of Apollo's lineup. They're going to go into their Immortality field down and try to prevent any further bleeding. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Nick coming in, finding the good pick. Turns his attention onto his counterpart, Reaper. He's forced to Wraith form out with very little health. Does not make it out. And Danny Defeato drawing first blood, coming up with first capture percentage.
It looks like Apollo failed to play the purpose of their composition. They ran the May Reaper, which usually that May Reaper composition you want to speed to point, get to point immediately and play that natural cover to avoid Pharah sightlines and Widow sightlines, and they're struggling there greatly with that. DXHTY getting knocked out early here as Schmido sets up the 4 on this defense, has a lot of sightlines to use it to his advantage. But it seems like Apollo just got lost in that first fight and what their objective is with their composition. Let's see if they can fix it up here.
Well, DXH got res, and it's going to come up with first blood, though. A good concussion blast is going to even the odds. DXH turns attention to the skies. And then Nick is going to come and find one, drop the death bus, and find another. And Catfish King finding the kill on to the counterpart, Reinhardt. That just leaves a lone Reaper standing here for Apollo as he gets chased out. The teleport, no help.
Oh no! DX burning himself. Move the dynamite goes down. Harambe Prime does get res. So 5 numbers still up for Apollo if they want to engage, but I think they're just going to wait for their hit scan because otherwise dealing with Schmido is going to be an absolute pain for them.
I'm not sure that Danny's going to give them the option. Schmido already just pouring in tons of damage. They're forced to use that immortality early, but they come out with a nice counter shatter, but Schmido counter punches right back with a great barrage coming out of the sky. He finds 2 with that great ultimate through the earth shatter coming out from the other side, but Harambe Prime not settling. He's going to try to strike back, gets the kill on the Nick, but they haven't dealt with Schmido in the sky, and he's raining rockets from above, and those rockets are landing true. 3 kills coming, almost as many rockets. And they are chasing the members of Apollo all the way back to their shuttle, 80% and counting on the board. They still have that Graviton Surge in their pocket as well as a Sound Barrier. You do have Apollo coming back with a couple of DPS ults, though.
Are they going to be able to touch? They could just maybe Graviton Surge them off the point. Pharah is really also difficult to deal with when you're the opposition have the point unlocked. It means that they have more sightlines to attack you with, and you have no natural cover, but they are going to get the touch with the D.Va.
Yeah, we got that grab coming out from Danny Defeato. Harambe's going to try to go in and touch, but in the end, the kills are lighting up red. Danny Defeato in full control here. Bob coming out from the other side. Apollo trying to make something happen. Now it's just Apollo Beej on the Mercy, trying to pull out that blaster and find a last-second desperation kill. No such luck. It's Danny Defeato coming up with round 1. Well, we're heading into well now. Clean slate, a chance for Apollo to bounce back. Keep themselves from going down 1-0 here in our semifinals matchup. Looks like they're showing us a little Orisa Sigma here. They're going to use a Bastion and a Reaper. It's an interesting combination coming out there. Anxious to see where they set up, how they utilize this. We are getting the Ashe Pharah out of the other side. Schmido sticking with that pharmacy here. And they're going to opt for the Orisa Hog in the tank lineup. Looks like an early immortality forced out. Schmido raining rockets from above, trying to find something, trying to force them back and claim some position here on this objective. Good hook going to come out and send Sigma down into the pit. Countering Halt trying to come out, but a good shield coming out from Catfish King, able to keep his Roadhog from getting halted in. And it is Danny Defeato with the one-man advantage. Or make that two is another good fishing attempt Both tanks of Apollo have been sent down into the pit, courtesy of Major Nova. And Danny Defeato coming up with first capture here.
Looking at the compositions, I assumed Major was going to have difficulty with the 2 shields on the side of Apollo for him to land any sort of hooks. But seems like the tank line got a little bit dispositioned and he was able to pull them into the well. Let's see if Apollo can make any sort of adjustment here. I think they're sticking on that Bastion for that configuration tech. No, they're making a switch over to the McCree to try to deal with Schmido in there.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. I mean, you gotta find something to answer this Pharah. So far, they have found nothing. And Nick coming up with the first early kill. Barrage is gonna come out. A good shield from the Sigma, able to block some of that damage, but they lose Miss Kittens. And without their Baptiste, that's no immortality field. Are they gonna try to get that res off? No. That is gonna get denied as the tank members move in, and it is Danny Defeato coming up with the res onto Schmido. Now the members of Apollo are just forced back. The late kill comes through onto Truth. They do have both those support ults coming online. 55% on the board for Danny, who are holding 2 support ults of their own and a whole hog. All right. No, you're fine. You're fine. I think I was noticing the same thing. Look at Apollo trying to push back in here. Truth opening up with first blood. Finds that kill onto Nova. And then Catfish King beating a quick retreat. Trying to find him some space here. Making sure his team doesn't get ran over. They're going to go and drop a sound barrier down. But Apollo counter-punching back with an Amp Matrix of their own. See if they can whittle through all of that health. And it looks like they have gotten their feet planted. As Major Nova's making his way back into the battle. Danny Defeato coming back on to full strength. Oh, and as I say that, Schmido and DXH trade out. Guile looking to tip the balance, finds the kill onto the counterpart. Rez coming through onto that Orisa. Major Nova coming up with another good hook, once again sending Guile into the pit. So the Orisa's down on the other side, tries to follow up with another good hook on the Sigma. In the end, the Sigma still drops, goes back into spawn. Ash throws down a Bob as they try to hold on here. Overtime Wick, a Burnin, and Apollo in desperation mode. And Schmido dropping another barrage onto the objective. DXH is sent back to spawn, and that is going to close us out here on Ilios. Danny Defeato taking a quick lead, 1-0.
They did such a good job of enabling that Pharah, especially when they won those first fights. The Pharah had so much momentum, so much space and sight lines to be able to punish any sort of mistake that Apollo made on their engagement, and it worked so well for Defeato. They also had their Ash burning in damage with dynamite and pressuring the opposition hit scan, which means Schmido had so much effect on that Pharah. We'll see if Apollo have an answer in the next.
Well, welcome back, my friends. We are headed into map 2 of our semifinals matchup between Apollo and Danny Defeato. I am Bullskunk, joined by Ocean here in the booth this evening. Looked like we had some...
it's exciting so far.
Yeah. Look, we had a couple subs coming through. Who's coming onto the playing field?
Anyways, we got Big Max coming in for Nick on the side of Defeato. We also have Expire Exposition coming in for Haram by Prime on Apollo. Not exactly sure what this means for either side, but we see Expire playing on Anubis like we did see him play this map earlier today in the previous series between Apollo and Pack Academy. We see Big Max coming in for Nick, which I'm surprised. I thought Danny Defeato would try and ride on that momentum, but they probably have a plan. It is Danny Defeato. They have won some tournaments in the past, so let's see if they can put that plan in action.
I still stand by. We need a code where we can decide the attackers as the host. Blizzard, if you're listening, give me that code in Workshop. Give me that code in Workshop where I can just set who's attacking first. As it stands,
definitely would be nice.
Wouldn't it though? Wouldn't that be handy? That'd be very handy. As it stands, Defeato on the attack, Apollo on the defense. Apollo coming out with a little Orisa Sigma. Here's what they're showing us so far. They're going to have Pharah and Ash to put the hurt down with the Mercy there to accompany the Pharah in the skies. Baptiste to keep his tanks topped off. On the side of the offense, Danny showing us a little Reinhardt Zarya with the Symmetra and Schmido back onto the Pharah. They had no answer for round 1. Might as well keep the damage in the skies. Might as well keep the threat from above.
Gonna be interesting to see the dogfight here.
Well, DXH opening up with a nice TNT there. Nice dynamite, able to find 28% ult charge right out of the gate. Danny Defeato going to go ahead and throw up a good teleporter as the bulk of them just move directly on the point, but they get met with a lot of opposition. And the names of Expire and Truth, both of which coming up with some kills, and then DXH cleaning things up at the end. So far, a very quick assault, just as quickly turned back. Apollo holding strong on the defense.
I like the answer that Apollo came up with for Shmito before. They went and matched him in the air. Shmito's actually been forced up to the far already, so they're already doing better than they were on Ilios. He's been forced on to the Huns of Big Macs, heading over to that signature McCree we were talking about earlier. They did try that symmetric shot that we were speculating about. Didn't really come to anything due to a really nice notice and engagement from Apollo.
Oh, Apollo with the focus fire, able to shut that down. Now Danny Field trying to path around through Mega and trying to come up on the side and take this platform. But Expire's going to open things up with a nice kill. Guile finds one of his own, and Ant Matrix comes out just to further increase the insult to injury going down onto Danny DeFito as they're forced to retreat back onto that Mega. Shmito trying to answer back, finds himself a kill, and they do get the res onto their Lucio. Oh, but Catfish King tries to shatter and gets shot down quite literally before he's able to get that ultimate off. DXH popping off, riding that momentum into 2 other kills. Big 3K coming out of DXH here on this engagement, shutting down this assault. With that, Apollo holding strong on the defense, just 2:20 on the clock, and Apollo with the ult advantage.
Yeah, they have 4 ultimates, almost 5 ultimates online. So they will have 5 ultimates now online. There was only maybe 3, maybe 4. If Big Max can get some early poke damage in, let's see if Defeato can try and go against the odds here.
Well, they're trying once again to path around through Mega side here. Gravitic Flux comes out from the other side. Shmito drops immediately. Soundbarrier comes out, but it's not time to keep his Hanzo standing. Sigma almost overextended, and they do manage to get the kill onto the bongos, so that's a big chunk of damage done, but Bob is in their backline wreaking havoc, and they're going to have to deal with him before they can even think about moving forward. And in the meantime, Truth has used the distraction to find himself a pick onto Shmito. And that's a 2-man...
on the back to try and get some damage involved.
Yeah. That's... Well, they're already at a 2-man advantage. Should be just clean up from here. Truth is going to go ahead and find that kill onto Reinhardt. And with that, Danny DeFito running for their lives. Trying to beat a quick retreat here. Good news for Danny DeFito, though, is there was a few ultimates spent on the side of Apollo.
The Supercharger and Tyrant Flex and Supercharger already back up to plus 50%. So definitely not too great for Defeato. They kind of just were hesitant on engaging after the tank ultimates were used up, so that means that the ultimates are actually pretty much online. See if Expire going on the flag with the barrage here. Let's see if we can get any value out of it.
They're going to open up with the early Ant Matrix on the ground, and they're going to find one on the back of that kill as the Spire comes in the back line. He gets shut down. The Deadeye comes out of Big Max and takes out the Pharmacy combo before he's able to hit the barrage. But Truth with another Gravitic Flux. It is indeed coming online big and coming up strong as he finds 2 kills on the back of that ultimate. Now you just have the Mercy Reinhardt kind of in no man's land here, surrounded by the members of Apollo. They do find the pick onto that Mercy. The Reinhardt not far behind. Big Max trying to come back on Tracer to assist. No such luck there.
That's my territory here for Danny DeFeato, and they don't have many resources, if any resources, to get this fight done. Maybe if Orange Cloud could build up this armor, never mind. It takes him on.
They are going to get that res off, but no, Miss Kittens won't let it stand. As Cowboy once again gets it back to spawn, Expire's going to go ahead and throw a supercharged barrage into the mix. That finds goal with Truth and DXH cleaning up. Truth coming up with 2 big picks on the end. And this Sigma, a big part of the reason Apollo has held fully on point. So Apollo just getting great value out of their ultimates here so far.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Danny on the defense, bringing us some Orisa Hog here. They're going to put Big Max on the Junkrat with Shmito onto the Ash, try to counter the skies here. And we are seeing that Pharmacy coming out of Apollo. Expire back on our favorite flying hero. But they're bringing us a little variation here. So you have Guile on the Orisa and Truth on the Hammond. So looking to knock some people off that high ground. Oh, but it is Danny DeFeato drawing first blood. 2 kills simultaneously light up that feed. And a quick advantage should dispel this attack.
I wonder if they're going to switch up the Fora here. It seems like it's going to be really difficult to get that Fora set up. Bursting damage onto that tank line with that Shmito on the Ash here.
Yeah, so far looks like they're sticking with DXH going over to a Widowmaker here. Perhaps try to take out the hard counter to the Fora. Big Max opening things up once again. We're going to get the ball trying to go back on the objective and pull off the members, perhaps just distract the members of Danny DeFeato. And Shmito coming up with a big pick. The res does come through, but they get the pick onto the Mercy during the process, so no more pocket for that Far up there. And they are trying to send attention. Oh, and Shmito was caught in a weird position, manages to get out. Oh, what a play coming out of Schmiedo. As he was caught down there with the Pharah, managed to use that shotgun to bounce out into safety and then gets the final blow and then turns around and gets the nice headshot on the DXH. Schmiedo keeping his team in this, landing shots true. Big Mac's coming up with a big pick onto onto Hammond there. Now they do lose their Mercy to a nice sniper shot. DXH got res there in the back line. He's going to take another killer shot coming out of Schmiedo, shut this down. Otherwise, DXH is going to have full reign and full sight lines over this objective. Back on the front line, we did have an Ant Matrix coming out and Expire picking up that kill as the Junkrat goes down. They did use their lamp in the process. Oh, but the mines land too, dropping on right under the back line as they try to throw down an Ant Matrix of their own here on the side of the defense. Truth drops some mines right on their head. They do try to counter back with a tire. That tire does find the kill onto Guile. The Mercy was off resing the Pharah, so they don't have that res here for the Orisa. But nevertheless, Expire is back up there raining rockets from above. Turn his attention onto that Hog. Throws a last-second barrage in. Does manage to get one kill with that.
This Catfish King.
He gets booped off by a concussion blast, giving him just the split second they need to get that one tick. Tie up this match.
Yeah, that fight was a very, very long fight. Started off with a nice engagement from Truth, and that actually enabled Expiration to get in there with the concussive blast, push the members of Danny Defeato off that bridge, making it easier for Apollo to take that space, and they took that space well, making sure that they could take the engagement as cleanly as possible. Of course, Danny Defeato fought back, making the fight look really difficult for Apollo after they got that minefield, but it was not enough. Apollo taking over this, and we're tied up heading into the half.
We are headed into map 3 of our CCO Winners Showcase semifinals matchup. This one between Apollo and Danny Defeato. And we are all tied up here at the half. I am Bullskunk, joined in the booth by Ocean here this evening. Ocean, what have you thought about this map so far?
I mean, it's definitely been interesting. Both maps so far have kind of been sort of a roll on either side. You know, whatever team picks up momentum first seems to kind of carry through and win the... I mean, what are your thoughts on the angry taxi man?
The angry taxi man? That guy
I think that's his name. We're going to go with that.
I like it. I like it. You know, that guy needs to just chill out. He is way too entitled. Somebody needs to get that guy a Fiji water and just tell him to calm down.
He's worried about getting there on time. There's a bloody war happening around you, man. I think that's the least of your concerns.
Well, and he's in the slowest car ever made. I don't know who put the max speed of that thing at 5 miles an hour. But you know what's not going at 5 miles an hour? This match. And the doors are open. We're seeing some Hammond and Orisa coming out of Apollo here who are starting things off on the offense. Looking to take the edge here in map 3. They are bringing Expire on that far once again, who's poking and prodding over the rooftops as we speak. Truth going in big, finds the kill onto XLT without their Moira. That's a big chunk of heals gone. And then DX coming up with 2 kills and 1 set of Storm Arrows, opening this thing up wide. And Apollo looking super strong on this offense. And they have what it takes to take point A here. 1 tick already on the board. Don't think we'll get a recontest out of Danny.
Yeah, I really, really love the patience from Truth on that wrecking ball for that pile drive. He waits until there's no flashbang, waits until the man's a little bit distracted and cannot get the freeze off, gets the pile drive off, gets the kill onto XTLZ, and makes sure that DXTHTY can come in with the Storm Arrow, gets in and follow up on the damage, and it allowed Apollo to cap points out pretty quickly here in Hollywood.
Oh, a blazing fast time. They have 5 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock as we speak, and they're making their way into Streets phase. But Major Nova going to open things up, finds the kill onto the Mercy. Apollo Beach goes down, and that's a huge pick. Expire kills himself onto the bubble of Nova, trying to use that barrage. The Supercharger comes out on the side of Apollo as well. DXH able to find a kill. Doesn't look like much help came through from the Supercharger. Nevertheless, Dragons are coming out. And it does look like Danny Defeato is holding strong, though Apollo not giving up just yet. Truth trying to pile in there, see if they can get some damage done. Expire coming back on that Genji for going the Pharah. See if they can build up towards that blade, but he is hacked and forced back. Now another late Ant Matrix coming out, but Graviton Surge countered by Danny Defeato. Do they have the follow-up to come in and make it something happen, to come in and turn the tide? They do get the kill onto Miss Kittens. Big charge comes out onto Guile, and he's sent back to spawn. No more main take, no more Orisa. They try to turn their attention onto the Hammond, and he could not roll away quick enough. Danny Defeato planting their feet and making a stand here on point B.
They do get a little progress on the point, Apollo. And they actually build a little bit more space. Defeato are still waiting on some numbers that can't hold us far up, so a little bit of space, a little bit of time here for Apollo to get a little bit more of an aggressive offense coming in.
And DXH already has second dragons online, but a big shatter comes off the other way, and the hammer lands good. That finds 5 members of Apollo underneath the weight of that massive shatter. And they storm forward, clean up those kills. And Danny Defeato with a big statement here on the defense.
Of course, it doesn't matter how much space you have if there's an EMP shatter on the other side. Big Max and Catfish King combining to make sure that Apollo don't get to use the space that they had. Making swaps over to the double shield composition now. Beige now also on the Moira.
Truth get... I'm sorry, Guile gets hacked right out of the gate, but DXH coming up with big picks as that storm arrows come out. Apollo is inside of yet another Graviton Surge coming out of Major Nova. And they managed to find the kill on the Truth inside of that ultimate. Schmiedo coming up with 2 big picks there as well. Is going to go ahead and throw a Deadeye into the mix. Not sure what he saw there, but the damage had been done and the defense holding strong. Nova building up these Graviton Surges like every 45 seconds. My goodness.
Speaking of which, Big Max is almost up to his other EMP. He's just hacked out Truth, trying to get a little bit more charge. He's already on 80%. He just used that a couple fights ago. Here comes the Dragon Blade. No, he can't get hacked up as the Transicator comes in, but he goes down. Catfish King finds Expire.
When he was running right into a fully charged Major Nova. Major Nova with literally 100 charge. And without their Genji, they're going to try to throw down an Matrix here on the side of the offense to run through. But EMP comes out from Big Max and finds their entire team. And then Danny Defeato just storms over them with no cooldowns, no ultimates available. Oh, but they may have overextended as Catfish King runs into a flurry of storm arrows coming out of DXH. And that Hanzo takes out the Reinhardt. That could be just the opening Apollo is looking for, as now they're trying to retreat back. Make sure they don't lose any more members. Expire going back over to the Pharah here.
Also, Ryan Zarya now coming out from Apollo.
Oh, indeed. As they try to match this, and Nova with yet another Graviton Surge already online, ready to go. Expire is hacked, but manages to get the kill onto the Sombra. Drops down and eats a Fire Strike as they trade out DPS. Rez coming through onto that Sombra, and Danny is back at full strength. Coalescence coming out from them as well, and another big shatter. That one finds 2. The support's just barely able to back out of the way, but it does not matter. The tank line is crushed. And the support's now running for their lives. The Hanzo with no late storm arrows this time. Catfish King get the better of him in that duel. Once again, Danny Defeato holds strong.
Oh, it gets
oh! Schmiedo with the late Deadeye. My goodness. Shutting down the charge on that Zarya.
That's really unfortunate. Speaking of charge on Zarya, Major X Nova is building those Graviton charges exceptionally quickly. Big Max is getting those EMPs exceptionally quickly, and there seems to be no answer from Apollo. They seem to not be able to shut down these ultimates, or these heroes that are building these ultimates, and Danny Defeato taking full advantage.
Yeah, Expire trying to go in and do work from above, trying to build up towards that barrage to turn the tide, but just can't seem to find an angle. Though DXH is going to open things up as the Reinhardt falls. They're going to try to get that res. Does not look like they got the res off. I think Bird tried to go in for a res, not sure what denied it, but no res came through, and with that, the members of Danny are falling all around without their Reinhardt to keep them topped off. Yeah, DXH on that rooftop, raining arrows from above. And finally, with just 30 seconds left in the clock, Apollo has made some ground here on Streets phase. We're going to try to hold here.
Yeah, but they only have one fight. One fight. AMP on the other side. Graviton Surge on the other side. Coalescence on the other side. Valkyrie on the other side. Barrage is not on their side as they get stunned.
He tries to go in aggressive with it and shut him down before they can come through and get, like you said, he got stunned out of it. Now, Danny Defeato countering right back. Another big shatter coming out of Catfish King. Big Max follows up on that. A damage-boosted Sombra running in. That's deadly. And now Overtime Wick is a burning. Looks like the end of point B is all they're going to get. Apollo is going to have to settle for that, go on the defense, hoping it'll be enough to give him the edge here. Apollo on the defense. Now they're bringing us a little double shield in the name of Sigma Orisa here. They're going to have Pharah and Hanzo put the hurt down with Baptiste and Mercy to keep the team alive. On the side of the offense, Danny showing us some Ryan Zarya. No big surprise there. Max sticking with that Sombra. Schmiedo over to the Widowmaker. Perhaps a counter to Expire on that Pharah. Up on the high ground here, see, poking and prodding, see if they can find any early opening. Catfish King comes in. Nice fire strike, able to build up 25% towards that Earth Shatter already, right out of the gate. Shield is whittled low, though, and his team's going to have to back out here. Bubble's going to keep them alive for the meantime, but yeah, they are going to be forced to back around that corner. They can't hold that corner for long. Miss Kittens comes with a big pick onto Big Max, and that's going to deny that all-important EMP charge. You do have Nova charged to the heavens, though, glowing like a Christmas tree at an even 100, and they might be able to utilize that to push forward. They've forced out the Immortality Field on the side of the defense, and Danny Defeato trying to get in here. They're going to have to get past this pharmacy. He's hovering right above him. Oh, a good hack comes out onto Expire. Whittled down low. So far, the Mercy able to keep him topped off. Expire somehow survives, gets back in the sky. And it is Major Nova and Catfish King eating the arrows coming out of DXH. So they do get the res onto that Reinhardt, and a good Earthshatter comes out. They're going to find the kill onto the Orisa and the Sigma with that Earthshatter. The Dragon's coming out from the other side, and that finds the Moira. Falls in with a great headshot onto Schmido. And I think DXH has done enough to hold the line here.
Wow, DXH on the hold, so 5 kills total for him in that fight. A lot of resources used from the side of Danny Defeato as well, so they won't have them back in time soon. Schmido is going to opt to try and take the dogfight in the air with Expire.
Yeah, I'm not sure how advisable that is. It's going to be really tough on this position, on this objective, rather. Now let's go in. He's going to find him. 2 rockets come out. 1 landing true. Burr coming up with the final blow. And then a good EMP comes out. That's going to find 3 members as Danny Defeato trying to punch back. 3 members of Apollo hacked. They're going to throw an Ant Matrix down to try to counter punch back. Immortality Field comes out as well, as they are just now all corralled into the bottom of Cafe. And Schmido just pouring rockets into that open. Now here comes that Graviton Surge. Oh, but DXH manages to make his way onto the top of Cafe and find the headshot onto the Pharah. Then a barrage coming out from the other side. But no kills come out. He was too low to the ground, flew too close to the sun. Wings clipped, and Danny Defeato coming up with point A.
Bit of a poor decision. A little bit quick to go for the barrage. So maybe should have played a little bit more patiently, a little bit more time. I should have just kind of stalled the timer a little bit. He's going to get that later spawn. Apollo going to have to regroup here.
Yeah, that's a great awareness, and picking up that kill onto Truth. He's going to go and make that swap over to the Sigma. But like you mentioned, they are going to get a nasty split spawn here, and Danny knows it. They are charging forward, full steam ahead, looking to take advantage here. You see Captain King just runs past that shield, drops an Earthshatter down, only finds 1, and the Immortality Field comes out. It will keep that team topped off.
Cancelled!
Oh, nice! Big Max sneaking into the back line, finding that kill. Truth does make him pay for it, but it's still a one-man advantage here on the side of Danny Defeato, and they have claimed lots of space here in Street Phase. Remember, they only have to push it into the front of the jail. They don't even have to go all the way in. They still have over 3 minutes on the clock. Schmido's got that barrage online and ready to go. Expire has swapped off the far of their own, going over to an Ash, try to counter back here in the sky. Schmido reading that, looking to turn his attention right onto his hard counter as that Ash is chipped down super low, and the rocket comes through. Here comes the barrage right onto the Mercy. Good hack comes out, and that's a big 4K coming out on Schmido with the barrage. What a huge play. Taking out the Ash first, dropping in the big ultimate. Whew, that was awesome.
For Apollo, 2 ultimates, maybe 3 by the time that you get to engage before Danny Defeato gets caught, and Danny Defeato will take Hollywood.
Big play coming out of Schmido on that Pharah. Coming back and winning the air duel on point A. Building up that barrage and placing it perfectly. Dropping in with the rockets to take out his hard counter right there. Gets Ash down super low. Drops that one. And then the barrage. Just beautiful stuff coming out of Schmido. Giving Danny DeFeato the 2-1 lead. We'll see if they can take it home as we go into map 4 when we return in just a few moments.
Yeah, been an exciting series so far.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely awesome series. Certainly didn't disappoint. Hasn't disappointed yet. And I still stand by my first prediction. It would not surprise me in the slightest to see us go to a map 5. Although Danny DeFeato coming off of a full sale of momentum. Win definitely at their backs as we are coming into map 4. Quick recap here.
Dorado.
Yeah, headed to Dorado.
You can hear the excitement in my voice.
Ocean's favorite map. Danny DeFeato able to take that third map, and we're coming in here with the lead on match points and themselves to the finals. Sorry, I didn't
On
mean to
the
cut you off.
defense here.
Yeah,
Let's
go ahead.
note let's note that new double shield composition with the Rhino Rest. It seems that they're gonna set up kind of aggressive. No, they're just gonna go for the Fire Strike aggressively, and then try and get Harambe Prime set up on the high ground. No, they're just gonna set up right in front of the spawn. The DXH is gonna take forward duties this time around.
Oh, they're going to use that Bastion as well and just have that line of sight right over the objective. We'll see if Danny DeFeato can find any quick answers, or we're going to have to get some swaps coming out. They do have DXH on that far, like you were saying. So double duty. Which one do you focus on? Which DPS do you give priority to? I feel like you have to give it to that Bastion. The moment you start ignoring that Pharah, she's going to wreak havoc on your team. And it looks like they're able to just slowly sneak it around. They've managed to get this objective underneath the line of sight of both the Bastion and the Pharah. So the answer is they dealt...
Apollo was good.
Yeah, they dealt with neither, but you hit the nail on the head. Apollo able to get rotated back to statue to get that Bastion set up, and they did not allow any further progress once they got to the archway. Pick come through on to Schmido.
The rotation from Apollo was very, very strong. Allows DXH to still have that choke to fire under. Harambe Prime was safe and sound on the rotation. Obviously, really, really difficult for Bastion to rotate because he's out of that sentry form, but they did so successfully.
Yeah, no, that was a very decisive rotation and it allowed them to hold here, which they are doing so far. Ant Matrix coming out on the side of the defense. Apollo looking to shut this thing down right here and now. Bastion does have that tank configuration online and ready to go. Trying to deal with that Sombra. Big Max already 85% towards an EMP, and they are coming back with an Earth Shatter on the side of the offense. They're going to open up.
They're just waiting for that EMP Shatter combo.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're just biding their time here. They're going to open up with Valk. They're going to open up with the Shatter early. He saw an opportunity and took it. The lamp does come out, but nevertheless, Coalescence there to help burn down both of the tanks on the side of the defense. And Danny DeFeato with all the room in the world to work here, just turning their attention on to the straggling members of Apollo. And after some cleanup, they will get point A here.
Yeah, DXH and Beige able to get out the side, but no Scar. They didn't even need the EMP Catfish, you're just too good. Has the Shatter on lockdown, and that was enough for Danny DeFeato to take point A from Apollo.
Yeah, not even the Immortality Field could save them from that fantastic ultimate. But Harambe Prime opening things up here on point B. As he is just bunkered up behind his double shield, finds that kill onto Major Nova. Big chunk of damage taken down. Nova holding that Graviton Surge as well. They are going to try to get that res. The res is successful. Danny DeFeato back at full strength, and they're going to drop an EMP, and that finds 5 members. Dragons come right across the entire pack of them. What a fantastic combo. Schmido coming up with big 3 picks. Initiated by that fantastic EMP coming out of Big Max, and Danny DeFeato in full control on point B. Now,
yeah,
good news.
I really like that EMP.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
Max. And it hit the high ground as well, so DXH couldn't respond with a barrage or anything. They had 0 options to respond to it. The Graviton Dragon Strike combo was huge as well. Speaking of barrage, DXH does respond. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good barrage coming out. Was it going to be enough? That Danny DeFeato tried to counterpunch back, but Guile and Lucky Dog are able to come up with those kills and clean things up. Give them the air they need to breathe, get their feet planted, and get this defense solidified here. You still have Schmido up on the top trying to make something happen. He is 92% towards those dragons. He's in that duel with that Pharah as we speak. Lands 1 arrow, gets the headshot. The direct rocket came down, but the headshot was there. Now he's going to try and drop his dragons right onto that objective, right in from above. Doesn't seem to find much. The members of Apollo able to back out, but it bought Catfish King the room he needed to go in and get some work done on that objective. The 2 members of Apollo were split off and forced in front of the objective by those dragons. And with the divide and conquer, Danny DeFeato able to mow over the end of point B here and find success. They're going to ride this thing home and pick up 2 points on the board. Now, they did spend quite a few ultimates in doing it, but they are coming up on another EMP coming out of Big Max, and we've seen how successful they are with this ultimate. An early lamp comes out. This could be just the opportunity they're looking for. They know that cooldown is no longer available. Schmido trying to work his way in there, trying to use those storm arrows the best of his advantage, poking and prodding around this final corner here. Big Max lurking in that back line, trying to get the EMP out. He does get the EMP out, but he pays for it with his life. Isn't going to be enough. Catfish with a big charge manages to take down Truth, but they trade out Reinhardt's. Res coming through onto that Sombra, and a wall comes out to block the Zarya off from the Coalescence, deny that healing. And both tanks are down here on the side of Danny Defeato. Looks like they will be forced back. Are they going to try to just die on point? They're sticking around. Yeah. Danny's sticking around a little bit longer, and I think they need to here. They're just going to help Guile build up towards that Graviton Surge.
Yeah, they made the swap onto the Zarya, just that fight, and they're already up to 86% of their ult. They also switched recently to the Mei, almost have that Blizzard, and B switched over to the Lucio, so making switches and getting value out of those switches really quickly and having those ultimates online for the next fight.
The offense does have quite a few of their own here. They will be running into that Blizzard. That's what I'm keeping an eye on, and see if they can turn the tide with that. Oh, good Earthshatter comes out from the defense. Dragon coming out from the other side. Catfish King has spent his Earthshatter in that process as well, but sacrificed himself and was not able to get much out of it. Now Danny Defeato trying to push in without their Reinhardt. See if they can make anything happen. You got Schmiedo. He is going to find that kill onto Guile. Excellent work on this Hanzo, trying to turn his attention onto Truth on the Reinhardt. And despite not having a Reinhardt of their own, Danny Defeato is somehow making this work and staying in this fight. Nova coming up with a kill onto Apollo Beach. And then Schmiedo does finally get that kill onto the Reinhardt. Here comes the Blizzard out from the defense. Is it going to be enough to stave off this assault? DXH comes up with a nice kill with the Storm Arrows. And you got Catfish King kind of caught off from the rest of the world. Fortunately, the Zarya up on that high ground, able to find LOS, able to find the bubbles onto him and keep that Reinhardt topped off. They had lost their Moira, but Rez coming through to get that big chunk of heals back into the battle. Graviton Surge comes out. Nice Maywall to divide off from the healers, but Dragon's coming out to try to keep that team alive, keep the pressure off of that Graviton Surge. And now Danny Defeato storming forward. Big Mac's coming up with 2 big picks. He's got that EMP on the line. It's just the Lucio and the Zarya there. Zarya gets burned down. Hanzo not far behind. They're coming back with the Wrecking Ball on the side of the defense, trying to stall this thing out, but they have a Sombra to deal with. That Wrecking Ball gets hacked and is just getting melted. Can't use shields, can't get away. And now that payload is going to get pushed right across. EMP for the exclamation point. 3 points on the board here for Danny Defeato.
Yeah, really, let's see if Apollo can match that. They're going to try something different here. They've got a Lucio Moira support composition, and Humble Prime is going to play the Sombra of his own.
Well, on the side of the defense, it looks like Danny Defeato is bringing us the Ryan Zarya once again. Big Max back on his Sombra. They've had so much success with him on that character and those EMPs. We'll get Schmiedo on the Ashe, and we're going to have a Mercy Moira combo here to keep Danny Defeato topped off and alive. As they are looking to hold on here. A hold here from them would send them on to the finals. Danny Defeato on a match point. 3 points on the board for them. Win condition set. Gates are open. Apollo has started their attack. We'll see if they can counterpunch back here. Looks like they are going to go back and opt for a Sombra of their own.
Yeah. Big Mac's already up to 80% on EMP. Charging that pretty quickly. And also getting some good scouting information early onto the side of Apollo.
Well, they're going to go in and get an early hack on the Catfish, and he's not able to survive the onslaught as the entirety of Apollo turns their attention onto that Reinhardt, and he drops without that main tank. They are just pushing right on forward here, getting the kill onto the Mercy, finding kills onto the Ashe and Sombra as well. And this will be Apollo storming through point A with a nice time moving into point B.
It seems Harambe's Prime's hacks got more value. However, Big Mac went for more hacks on the side of Defeato and got a little bit more overcharge, but that critical hack on the Catfish King on that Reinhardt for Defeato meant that Apollo were able to capitalize and kill the main tank and capitalize and take through point A of Dorado.
Well, Schmiedo doing his best to take that momentum out of Apollo here as he opens up winning the duel against the Hanzo. But Guile answers with a good kill onto the Moira. That res does come through. Danny Defeato still with the man advantage. Nice hack comes in, and a huge Earth Shatter comes out from Apollo. That finds 5 members of Danny. Now they're only able to get the kill on the Catfish, but that is the all-important kill without their main shield. Danny Defeato running for the hills here. Major Nova doing his best to try to stay alive. He's got a ton of charge. Did not want to go down, but Guile had other plans, putting axe to head. He does find that kill and giving Apollo clean room to work here on Streets phase.
They do have an EMP barrage, Graviton Surge. Just a flurry of ultimates available for Defeato. They can kind of take this engagement when they want to, probably when Apollo get around this corner. But here comes the EMP.
Shatter right with it as well. Though a good sound barrier coming out from the other side. Is it going to be enough to keep that team topped off? Not through the barrage, it's not. Dragons did come out to try to counterpunch back, and that found one kill, but the Barrage finding tons of success. Graviton Surge doing what it needed to. Danny Defeato holding on strong here, able to get their feet planted.
Yeah, Danny Defeato invest EMP, but the Silent Polo decided to respond with their Graviton Surge and Dragon Strike combo. They did get a Stone Barrier off, which is really impressive to try and help them stabilize. But I think if you're Apollo, you want those ultimates back.
Yeah, I wouldn't have invested that one here myself, especially with this EMP online ready to go. They're going to open up with a hack onto Catfish King, see if they can find the kill onto that main tank. He is whittled down low. Heal Orb coming out, and Coalescence coming out on the side of Danny Defeato, trying to keep him topped off. Oh, but a good charge takes that Moira out. Now they turn their attention right back onto the Reinhardt. This time he does not survive without the help from his Moira. And without their shield, without their main heals, the remainder of Danny Defeato don't last long. You do still have Big Max out there trying to stall for as much time as he can. But you have a monstrous time bank on the board here, just under 5 minutes, 2 points on the board here for Apollo.
They still have that EMP online as well. They haven't yet used it this round. So if you're Defeato, you know they have the EMP. You're kind of scared of that, but you know they have the EMP. There's no sort of surprises here because they haven't used it the entire round. Let's see what Defeato did to respond to it.
Well, Harambe's making his way into the backline now. He's got his sights set. Finger on the trigger, and there it goes. That finds 4 members, and 2 kills quickly come through. Mercy is down below half. Harambe looking for that kill, and they do eventually find that kill with a little help from his Moira, and the members of Danny Defeato are now in tatters. They got Nova running for his life, though they do manage to pick up a couple of kills in the tanks. Might be just enough to stabilize. They turn their attention on the Truth and find that kill as well. The tank line and Danny Defeato refusing to die here.
They've got their own EMP this fight as well. During the fight where the opposition had theirs, they were able to pick up and charge their own. So let's see this time. Now the cards are flipped. I Apollo deal with that EMP.
We do have Apollo coming up with that Grav Dragon once again. Trying to get better use out of that combination this time, no doubt. But they're going to have to deal with the EMP barrage combo from the other side. Early hack comes out onto Schmido, but Coalescence comes out from Danny Defeato to keep that team topped off, and Schmido finds the kill onto DXH. Without that, Hanzo, he has free reign to drop this barrage at his leisure. May not even need it. Falls in with a nice direct onto the Moira. 3 picks coming through, 3-man advantage on the side of Danny, and they're not done. They're out looking for more. They smell blood in the water. They're trying to go find some exit kills, but they may have overextended as DXH comes in with a big pick. The Hanzo finding the head of Major Nova, and he's holding that Graviton Surge and went down with a healthy dose of charge.
Seems to be a trend, though, of Danny Defeato's. When they're pushing for these exit kills, they seem to lose a tank quite consistently. They're probably taking full advantage.
Yeah, they're going to move in and drop the Dragons right over the point. Gao coming up with a big pick onto Reinhardt as well, taking out his counterpart. Now they are going to get that res off, and Nova's coming back into the battle. Going to go ahead and drop that Graviton Surge. Here comes the barrage as well. Soundbarrier comes out, but it's not enough. They're going to add an Earth Shatter just to add insult to injury here. Schmido coming up with 3 big picks in that engagement. 2 of them on the back of that fantastic barrage into the Graviton Surge. Danny Defeato holding strong here in the defense, but they spent everything in their bank to do it.
Yeah, nothing left for them, but they are at 72% to the EMP. With Big Max's playstyle, he likes to poke around that backline and build that EMP as quick as possible. So let's see if he can build it before this fight goes across. Harambe still trying to find his second EMP to help Apollo push this final fight and get Dorado captured.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be a battle of the Sombras here so far, and we've seen what impact Big Max can have with that EMP on the side of Danny Defeato. Here on the other side, we do have that Earth Shatter online ready to go. The front line, they're trying to push in. Apollo has dropped a Coalescence here to try to make something happen. They got to pick on a Schmido, though they are going to get that res. Danny Defeato back at full strength. EMP comes out on the side of Danny, though. Oh, and the Earth Shatter counters back the other way, and they've got through the shield. There comes the EMP from Apollo, and the late EMP is the better EMP, finding the remaining 3 members of Danny Defeato, and they are pushing in here. They're looking to beat the time set by Danny. It's going to be close. Can Danny Defeato get out here? No! A big hack! The Tracer got hacked trying to recontest, and they are going to take a little bit of a time bank advantage here as they complete the 3rd point.
We expect this sort of standard for both these teams, 2 titans of the Tier 3 console watch scene, and are excited for this series to continue.
Absolutely. It would not hurt my feelings to go to a map 5. But that's just purely because I enjoy fantastic Overwatch and I want to see and cast more of it.
3, 2, 1.
On the defense, Paulo coming back out with DXH on that Pharah, and the Sombra from Harambe once again. Big Mac swapping on over. He's going to, for the first time in a few maps, choose to elect to go back over to that Reaper. Danny Defeato going back on attack here, clashing around this first corner. Danny Defeato slowly pushing forward. They got the first shield break, and they are going to find first kill as Guile goes down, not able to retreat fast enough, and there is no way for a res to come through on that one. DXH did get the kill on Schmido, but they got their res, and still a one-man advantage and no Reinhardt here on the side of Apollo. Schmido finds that pick onto the far, but Big Max goes down as they trade out DPS. Cart is still full steam ahead, 33 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, Defeato looking really strong in that first fight. Apollo didn't really get any ultimates charged up apart from Graviton Surge at 70%. Maybe come in for the re-engagement. They get Schmido. Are they going to be able to contest? They are. Alright, Prime getting the touch. And Truth getting close to that Graviton Surge. It's getting difficult for Danny Defeato.
Oh, and they open up with 3 picks and then throw the Graviton Surge in, and with just 8 seconds on the clock, that is going to spell doom for the hopes of Danny Defeato here. That is as far as they are going to get. 82 meters is what they will have to settle for. Hope it's going to be enough for them to take the victory here. It looks like from these characters they have a lot of sustained potential and just try to sustain through and burn this clock down. But they are going to have to deal with Harambe back onto that Sombra and DXH back onto that Hanzo, putting out a lot of damage, have a lot of pick potential. Sombra immediately working around to the back line. Harambe trying to find a good hack target here. Trying to find some room to work, and I open up with a hack onto that, onto the Reinhardt. Good Maywall coming out, trying to keep his team safe, but left a little bit of room for Apollo to try to push through here. And Danny playing very conservative, actually. They're just going to choose to elect back, try for one good hold here back on Statue. Oh, and they find opening pick. That is a huge pick, but the Reinhardt gets hacked. He is down super low. Immortality Field comes out from XLT. It's an early use of that cooldown. It might open things up as we're going to get Coalescence starting to come online here. Oh, but with a good pick onto the Reinhardt, Apollo is retreating back to spawn. And Danny have won their first engagement. 40 seconds on the clock. They've got an Ant Matrix and a Valkyrie of their own to work with.
They both got ults. Everything's about 70%. It's looking really desperate for Apollo now.
And not to mention, you've got Nova as still charged as could be on that Zarya. We know the impact he can have on that character. We've seen it already plenty here tonight. Apollo coming back in with one last try. 20 seconds on the board. Schmido opening things up, gets the air duel, wins the battle with the far in the skies. And that's a quick one-man advantage. They're going to try to turn their attention onto that Sombra. Sombra hiding off underneath the high ground there. I think Maywall came out as in anticipation of them pursuing that, but they do not. Instead, they throw a Graviton Surge right onto the tank line. Sound Barrier comes out from the other way. Shatter comes out, but it did not seem to find much. And now they're going charging the back line, and it's giving Apollo a chance to answer right back. EMP comes out on the side of Apollo, and that finds 3. Big Max throwing that Blizzard in. That is the counterpunch they're looking for. Rez coming through onto the Lucio. It's just a Reinhardt, a Mercy, and a Lucio versus a Mei and a Zarya here on the objective. Pharah back in this battle as well. 3v3 here on the point. Respawn advantage going to Apollo, but they lose their Reinhardt. Overtime Wick is a burn, and they have to keep a toe on this objective at all times. A good freeze comes out onto the Lucio, and that's going to do it. Danny Defeato have held on. They will take the map win. They will win the match 3-1. They will move on to the finals.
Yeah, Danny Defeato will be in our finals against C4 Triarchs. That match is currently ongoing. We don't have any updates on the score, but it's going to be set for a friendly final. Of course, if C4 do win that, it'll be a rematch of last season's CCL MTT semifinals of Tier 3. So that will be very, very exciting to see. I'm kind of hoping for that one, but what a match we've just witnessed. Apollo going down 3-1 eventually to Danny Defeato. I think just the amount of watch they had to play consecutively eventually just kind of paid dividends, and I kind of got a little bit burnt out. Of course, it is late for some of their players, but what a series they've had. Danny Defeato moving forward.
Fantastic series, no doubt there. And viewers, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate y'all showing up. Really appreciate all the support from the community. We had a late follow coming through from ZF Slays. Thank you for that. Really appreciate the support. It means the world to us here. Well, with that, I think that's going to do it. Y'all remember to look out for each other, in-game and out, as always. Ocean, thanks again. Folks, we'll see you next time.